increase their marks in a particular subject by 5% and assume they need to spend X number of hours doing that. So 5% increase in a particular subject need X number of hours. I have an extremely strong belief, and I have been able to prove that in many cases. You spend those X number of hours on that student's mental health, and you will be able to improve his or her performance in all subjects by 5%. Not just that, you would probably be able to improve that person's performance in all areas of their life by 5%. Not just that, you would be able to do that while they would be more happy and while they will have more peace of mind. While they will support the overall environment and everything, and while they will be a positive impact on everyone around. So, and I understand, as teachers, there will be a lot more focus that we will do on students, but that is not to, take away the mental health challenges that teachers have. I mean, I know the COVID story is beaten down to death, but really, when COVID happened, I think teachers, the fundamental mental health of teachers changed with COVID. The need to service 30 students on a Zoom phone call. My daughter used to take classes. I mean, she was in college at that point of time, and this is how she used to take classes. She would be lying down on the bed, and the classes will be like this. Literally, they would be like this. And the only thing she would do is she will keep waiting for the word Muskan, because she knows she has to get up and then she has to respond. And of course, she's a good student, is why she was doing that. We all know there were, worse cases. And especially teachers who were not digitally savvy essentially. Okay? Who were not necessarily, using Zoom, using digital, using social, using tools and technology. For them to be able to take that up and the kind of challenges that it caused, it's been tremendous. So while we will spend more time talking about student wellness, the teacher's mental wellness is not, not something that is devoid of how we look at what we are doing. So let me start by asking if you can talk about certain mental health challenges, whether it is as an individual, as a teacher, or whether it is with students. What are the key areas where you have seen, things worsening, challenges becoming more rampant over the last few years? Anyone wants to start? It could be from your perspective for your mental wellness, or it could be from your perspective for the students that you see around.
The behavioral concerns.
The behavioral concerns, okay. So behavioral concerns would include everything. If you can specify something.
The approach to study, like they're not sitting at one place, they are moving around in the classroom. I'm talking about the junior one.
Sure.
So, they have to be forcefully made to sit in the...
So kind of the loss of discipline that probably happened. Okay. Aggression has increased.
They are not able to take any remark and immediately respond.
Sure. And I guess that aggression may not necessarily be COVID. I think that's more, society overall in how we are proceeding, how we are creating, environments around us. They have become more aggressive.
They have also become more sensitive towards things.
They've also become more sensitive.
Patience levels get down.
The patience level has reduced significantly. What else? Anything else that you see as arrogance? Okay. Patience, arrogance,
Argumental also.
They become more argumentative.
They are finding reasons also.
Sure. So let me ask a question. We all have good days. What's a good day for you? When you wake up on the right side of the bed, when it's like, the morning starts fine, you don't argue with anybody in your home. For those of you who are married, the spouse is not troubling you. For those of you who have kids, the kids wake up by themselves, get there, go to school. you come to school, the traffic is not bad, the students don't disturb you that day, blah, 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 and the entire day passes. And then you have bad days. You wake up on the wrong side of the bed. That's where it starts. You wake up on the wrong side of the bed, you end up into an argument first thing in the morning, or see a reel that disturbs you, or do something else that disturbs you. The breakfast is not good, the ride to school is bad, you end up having an argument everywhere, and you come to the class and something is not right. What's your productivity difference? And we all have that, right? We all have good days, we all have bad days. What's your productivity difference between the two?
If we are happy, then we are working well. Means we are doing the thing in a proper manner and finishing it better.
So, what would be the percentage difference? And I will give you statistical data in everything I say as well. 50%. Okay, so let me ask. Anybody here who has less than 20%? My data says there is nobody who is less than 20%. Anybody here who is less than 40%? 1%. My data says 70 to 80% people are more than 40%. Less than 70%. Some more people. So my data also says nearly 50% of people would be above 70%. Assuming that is the case, think about it. Assuming that is the case, you all agree that everyone has at least a 40% difference between a good day and a bad day as they think about their mental health. If I can do something, if I can deliver you something that will either reduce the number of bad days that you have, I can't change your spouse. That's what somebody is thinking. But that can reduce the number of bad days that you have, or something that can reduce the intensity of those bad days. What sort of a difference can I bring to your world? Is there anything that you can think of that would cause such an impact? Anything. You could think about a productivity tool, you could think about whatever money, you could think about whatever else. Is there anything that will provide this kind of an impact? 40%. At a bare minimum. That's the power that we are thinking of, or that we are talking about. Let me ask. How many people here understand the difference between a psychiatrist and a psychologist? Again, as I said, I will give you statistical data. How many people understand the difference?
A psychologist is a person who studies psyche, that is mind, and a psychiatrist is a clinical psychologist. Basically, iatra is a Latin term which means healing. So psyche means mind and iatra means healing. One who heals the mental issues or ailments.
Okay. Anybody else?
Psychologist is one who has done masters, completed his or her master's
in psychology.
Exactly. And psychiatrist is somebody who's completed the MPhil regular.
Okay. Anybody else? And I'm sorry to put you guys down. Actually, let me not put you guys down. 95% people in this country. Okay, and I've asked this question to almost 30,000 people. So I have statistical data. 95% people in this country are, I'm sorry to say, as ignorant as you are. Literally as ignorant as you are. A psychologist is somebody that delivers you therapy. A psychiatrist is somebody that delivers you medicine. Now in our country, a lot of psychiatrists end up doing therapies as well. But the difference is a psychiatrist is somebody that delivers you medicine. So a psychiatrist is somebody that you would go to if you have a chemical imbalance. A psychologist is somebody that you would go to when you are looking for therapy. When you have, certain thoughts, emotions, and whatever that you can't get out of. Not necessarily a chemical imbalance.
Like anxiety.
Like anxiety. Well, anxiety at times would require a medicine as well.
Yeah, after a certain extent.
Right. And that's where the challenge is. Most people. No, it can happen at any point of time. I mean, you contract viruses, you contract bacteria, you contract funguses, you know, people get cancer, people get tumors, people get all sorts of skin diseases, this, that. It's simply, you know, as simple as that.
How can a person can differentiate that?
Exactly. Exactly. People cannot differentiate for most part. I'm saying they don't even know the difference between a psychologist and a psychiatrist. How are we talking about how will they differentiate who to go to? Absolutely. And hence starts the challenge of mental health specifically in schools. Let me give you the journey of a normal school student who has any mental health issues. Complaints at home, parents would listen for a while, then they of course can't talk to anybody because me and my kid can't have a problem. Mental health? Absolutely, hell no. At some point of time, there will be a recognition something is wrong. They will take the student to a psychiatrist. The psychiatrist, because you won't pay the psychiatrist if he doesn't give you medicine, right? Medicine नहीं दिया तो पैसे किस चीज के मांग रहे हो? So the psychiatrist is probably going to put the student on an antidepressant drug. 2 to 3 months later, hooked for life. 2 to 3 months later, hooked for life. It's been clinically proven that under most cases, that student could have gone to a psychologist, could have taken therapy, could have gotten support, and would probably have never needed pharma-neuro intervention, or may have needed pharma-neuro intervention at a minimal level. Now, here I'm only talking about the 2% people that will actually end up in that zone. But expand that to everybody around. That's the challenge of mental health that we are looking at resolving. So going by this, Sharat, next. Why is this not working? Anyway, can anybody say how many Xanax prescriptions are written in the US every year? Total population 400 million. How many Xanax prescriptions are written every year?
Half of the population.
Sorry?
Half of the population.
Not quite half, but nearly 100 million. Is an anxiety medicine. And by the way, from a clinical perspective, Xanax is non-addictive. Non-addictive. From a social behavior perspective, is it 100% addictive? But from a clinical perspective, it is not an addictive medicine. Next. So there is a survey that we asked you to fill up earlier that was essentially asking you about student wellness and teacher wellness. What we were trying to do is to gauge inputs from you on what do you think about wellness of various students that you work with and wellness of teachers from your standpoint. What are the challenges you are facing? What are the key concern areas that you have? How would you rate yourself across variety of different parameters? And the intention was simply just to gather inputs and for you to start thinking about where is it that you are struggling the most or where is it that you require the most support. So where is the best opportunity to make an impact? Next. We have done this survey in the past. This is the data that we have been able to get. As you would see, and this particular one is student mental health. So teachers talking about student mental health. 50% plus of teachers think there are classroom challenges with students. 50% of them or 45% think they do not offer collaborative support. 40% of teachers think student well-being suffers significantly. Please note, orange is significant and red is critical. So you can look at these numbers and see the kind of challenge I am talking about. I should include yellow also in the area of concerns category, but I am saying let me leave that for the time being because at least they are doing something right there. Even if I look underneath, this is the kind of data that is there. Go to the next chart. Yeah. This is what should be an eye-opener. This is talking about teacher well-being. Can we turn air conditioner off from somewhere? Yes. Since I know some of you are feeling very cold. Okay, perfect. So this is talking about teacher well-being. So teachers talking about from a well-being perspective, where do they struggle? Interestingly, our current data says there is nearly 65% of teachers who do not have job satisfaction. 65% of teachers do not have job satisfaction. Nearly 30% of teachers do not have work-life balance at an acceptable level. The interesting bit is 25% out of the 30% have it at a critical level. Work-life balance and understanding. And then, physical illness, emotional well-being, support, burnout, stress, workload. 50% plus think the workload is a problem. Now, this particular chart is essentially talking about when we asked students and parents about student mental health. This is what we got. Nearly 75% of parents and students think that they procrastinate. Nearly 75% think there are bullying issues. See, bullying is not really some child being taken to a corner and asked to strip. That's bullying. Okay, I'm not suggesting that's not. But bullying is simply somebody trying to overpower your free thinking or free performance activity. It's as simple as that, right? 75% of students and parents think there is a bullying problem. And then similarly, self-esteem, low moods, sleep issues, self-confidence. So, net, mental health across the board is a humongous challenge, however you look at it. Next. What we are. So when I started, so let me now talk a little bit about my journey. So my name is Kapil Gupta. I am neither a psychologist nor a psychiatrist. Okay. My mental health journey essentially started 4 years back, the day before the first lockdown. Okay. I wrote a flippant Facebook post. It had no meaning. It wasn't done to be insightful. It was done to be funny. I hope Modi ji has kept enough money in the budget for suicide prevention and depression. And I'm telling you, it wasn't meant to be insightful. I wasn't looking to, really talk about suicide. I was just trying to be funny. That triggered a whole bunch of conversations that I had with multiple different people. And a whole bunch of insightful conversations I had with myself. Then I started looking at what was going on in the industry in terms of support that is being provided across the board. And here I'm not talking students only. Schools, colleges, corporates, governments, any kind of environment. I mean, mental wellness of a housewife. Mental wellness of somebody who's unemployed. Mental wellness of somebody who is suffering from a substance abuse or suffering from some kind of a behavioral disorder. Everyone. What we saw was the entire market was extremely underserved, and more than underserved, it was badly served. So one thing is not enough, the other thing was wrongfully served. And that wrongfully served consisted of two mechanisms. One mechanism was offer a marketplace, provide people with the ability to go to a psychologist or a psychiatrist, which, as I said earlier, is a 2% problem. And that also expecting that the person knows the difference between a psychologist and a psychiatrist, actually gets support and blah 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 blah. Inadequate, totally inadequate. Number two, some kind of a content solution. So in the West, they started this concept of how about we provide people meditation lessons? How about we provide people this kind of content? How about we teach them how to handle anxiety through yoga? And all. Nothing wrong with them, but again, inadequate. Everybody's mental health, each and every individual's mental health is different. There are 8 billion ways, and I famously, have quoted this at many places. There are 8 billion ways in which mental health works. Does anybody know why the number is 8 billion and not 10 billion? There are 8 billion different ways in which mental health works. It's not 10 billion. Does anybody know why? Simply because human population has not reached the 10 billion mark. Each and every individual, I don't care if they are siblings, I don't care if they are related, I don't care if they are best friends. Each and every individual has a totally different paradigm to their mental health. And nothing today resolves that. So what we tried to do was we tried to create a mental health solution. And these are the base frames that we These are the base frames that we looked at. We said number one, it needs to be scalable. Scalable means it needs to be technology driven. If it is technology, not only will it be scalable, it will also be anonymous. Who wants to talk about their, bad, nightmares or bad thoughts that they have and the things that they struggle with and how they are not able to cope up with work and how they are ineffective and how they hate their kids at times and of course their spouses and, their parents and this, that and the other. Who wants to talk about that? If you go somewhere and say, I am not able to perform, will you be treated rightly at your next appraisal? Will your friends look at you right if you say, I have this kind of a mental health issue? Right? So it would be not just scalable if it is tech driven, it would also be anonymous. And it would be available anytime, anywhere, for however you want to use. Number two, we said while there is technology that is needed, can you embellish this with a whole bunch of resources? Tool guides, courses, structured programs, and so on and so forth. Let me give you an example. I'm currently, and this is my big project right now. I'm currently working on a project to create a tech enablement of de-addiction. So then a person goes to de-addiction clinic when they have actually started stealing money from either their house or from somewhere else or selling stuff from their house to buy drugs or buy alcohol or buy whatever. Okay? Because there is nothing available. What's the answer? What's the solution? So de-addiction is essentially at a de-addiction clinic where you have to go and spend 3 months or 6 months, which means you have to live your life. Who wants to live their life? Unless and until, as I said, you get to that extreme situation. So we are trying to create a de-addiction program which will be tech driven, which will be available to people anytime, anywhere, and they can use it. Will it help the severely addicted people? Maybe not. But will it help everybody else? So through technology, can I help somebody who has decided to commit suicide? Probably not. Can I prevent a whole bunch of people from getting into suicidal thoughts? That's what I'm talking about. Okay. Third, we said there is a lot of need to address stigma. And while people keep talking about stigma, what we have realized, bigger than stigma is also solution discovery, which we were talking about earlier. Where do you go if you have a problem? Most people do not talk about their mental health also because they know there is no solution. If I knew I can go to a therapist and get my, get recovery done for whatever trauma I faced in life, maybe I will. But I don't know if it is feasible. If I had whatever childhood experience that has been holding me back for whatever reason, if I knew it is possible to give up, I might do that. But I don't know if it is even feasible. So, solution discovery. Again, who do you go to? A psychologist or a psychiatrist? If you go to a psychologist, what kind? And how do you handle it? And blah, 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 And can it all be enabled, empowered through certain things, certain technology before you have the need to go there? So, creating that entire, call it user journey. Number 4, of course, a mental health marketplace. Okay. And I wouldn't go through the details of next few charts, okay, because I want to show you the platform. Okay, the intention really is to create an environment where we can have resilience all around us, for the students, for the teachers, and for the parents. Let me assure you, let me be 100% clear, teachers and students' mental health will be greatly, significantly improved if you can handle the parents.
Yes.
It will be significantly improved if you can handle the parents. The parents are the bigger problem. You look at inclusivity in your class, you can't have some student sit with an autistic, ADHD or LD child, not because those student wants to sit there, because no parent wants any student to sit there. That's the reality of their brilliance. They think my child will lose his brightness if he sits with somebody who has whatever issues. And then there are environments that would actually create a structure where the student, where the parent would feel empowered if they are putting their child next to somebody that might need a little bit of support, because they know they are creating empathy, they know they are helping their child become a better human being, they know they are helping their child in his or her overall development. But how do you do that? That's where, parent mental health becomes an extremely critical portion when you think about schools and all. Interestingly, we recently did an event at a school, and the intention was the school basically asked us, I don't know if mental health will work for us. Show me some proof. So we did we went to their PTM. We thought we will get probably 40-50 people who will talk to us. We took a target of 100. We actually, like the survey that we just gave you, we had 100 such survey forms, but for parents and students, not for teachers. Okay. At the end of the day, we got 172 forms filled. If I got 172 forms filled, let me assure you, 300 plus people would have come and talked to us. While it wasn't even the objective, 16 people opted for on-the-spot counseling. 16 people. I was, and I've been working in this industry for reasonably long time. I was super zapped. 16 people. And some of them actually went away without taking counseling because they couldn't wait. I didn't take enough counselors with me. I didn't know there would be this kind of a requirement. So many just went away because they couldn't wait. So tremendous requirement all across. So what we have done from a tech perspective is we said for anybody to get mental wellness support, the 4 layers that I talked about, but more importantly, they need self-help tools. Self-help tools essentially mean tools that they can use by themselves or with the platform. Things that they can do by themselves. Number 2, community support tools. So tools that you would use with the community at large. In some ways, many things that used to be just available because of social structure when I was younger. I'm reasonably old. So when I was younger, we used to have, that family structure, that neighborhood structure. It's not just family structure, that neighborhood structure. That nagging aunt or that nagging neighbor that used to keep standing on her, balcony and follow everything and ask you, where are you going, who are you going with, when are you coming back? Trust me, she was a huge part of our mental health. We may have hated her, but she was a huge part of our mental health. And the entire family structure, where if you have a problem, it's just getting resolved just because there are 20 people there. It's not just looking at support here. So anyway, community support that you get from people around. And of course, expert services. Now, expert services could be clinical, which means a psychiatrist, a psychologist, or a counselor. Or it could be non-clinical, what is called as allied therapy. Yoga, meditation, art, music, dance, spiritual therapy. Well, you can even go to the extent of equine therapy, cat therapy, dog therapy, and whatever. Whatever works for you. Whatever stimulates you. Travel therapy. Right? Or anything else. So we took all of this together and we created our tech platform. That's the app that you were just asked to download. It has a mood meter, so you can record how you are feeling and then basically go back to insights on that based on your past data. It has self-assessment tests, which are psychometric evaluation tests. So I can't call them psychometric evaluation because they are being put on a tech platform. So they are no longer psychometric, but they are great for self-assessment. You can assess your stress level, you can assess your anxiety, you can assess your depression, you can assess your social emotional anxiety, you can assess variety of different aspects, either of your mental health issues or of your personality. It would also have a whole bunch of courses, toolkits, program guides and everything. So for example, we have this small toolkit which is dealing with autistic kids. Simple. Help guide for dealing with autistic kids. We created it for parents, but it is just as useful for teachers. And then variety of other mechanisms along with that. It would also have the marketplace where you can search for a psychiatrist or a psychologist or a counselor, either based on your problem area, or it would be based on specifically what do you require if you know. Also, we started this concept of problem discovery session. We said many people don't even know where to start. मेरा 7 साल का बच्चा है वो अभी तक बोल नहीं रहा. That's my problem statement. Is I have a 7-year-old child who's not speaking yet. What do I do? मुझे तो for the most part psychiatrist, मेरे को तो mental health भी समझ में नहीं आता. What do I do? So we started this concept of problem discovery. So just simply pick up the phone, talk to a counselor. It's a 20-minute call, and the counselor will walk you through what to do. The counselor won't give you therapy. So the counselor won't give you therapy, but the counselor will walk you through what to do next. And we make all of this available to students, to teachers, to parents. Where we become very interesting is we consolidate data from all of this and we make it available to the school. We do not ever give individual user data. So you can't identify a student saying ye iska hai, and can't identify a teacher saying ye teacher hai, ye parent hai, whatever. But I can tell you what's the difference between mental health in class 5th versus class 6th or class 10th versus class 11th. I can tell you between this location to that location. I can tell you between this age to that age. I can tell you between parents and teachers, and so on and so forth. So we are able to gather a whole bunch of insights for organizations that is made available to them. Now because they have this data, they can analyze, they can optimize, and they can create intervention sets. So what we are trying to do as an organization is work with schools in providing this platform to schools to be able to empower every individual in the school ecosystem, the students, the teachers, the parents, the non-teaching staff, and everyone else, to be able to get better mental health support anytime, anywhere, anonymously, based on whatever they want. So today, I discussed this actually, met with Principal Ma'am a few days back, and she asked me to come and talk to the teachers and see what do they think about mental health. So before I go ahead, let me stop and let me actually ask you, what do you think? Is it something that sounds interesting? Is it something that sounds like would provide a capability to students that you work with, or capability to you as individuals? Anyone? Any thoughts? Any comments? Sure. It's interesting, something to be explored more. Anyone else? Any other thoughts? Anything specific that you think students or teachers struggle or suffer with that needs to be handled?
Everything starts with the mental health only. If it is good, then everything will be okay. And if it is
in fact, I don't ask this question in schools. I usually reserve this question for higher environment. But let me ask. Assuming I give you a choice, okay, and don't think how will you give this choice though unreasonable. Assume I have the power, and I give you the choice. You can have 2 hands and 2 legs, and be unhappy for the rest of your life. 2 hands, 2 legs, and be unhappy for the rest of your lives. Or I give you an alternate option. You will have 1 hand and 1 leg, and you will be happy for the rest of your life. So the choice is 2 hands, 2 legs, unhappy every day for the rest of your life. 1 hand, 1 leg, and happy every day for the rest of your life, what would you choose? Sorry? Second option. So, mental health is probably the only thing worth giving an arm and a leg for. And specifically in school environments, where the need is to create resilience. Whatever resilience you will create for the student right now will last his lifetime. Whatever misguided, not handled emotions you will leave the student with right now, they will carry for the rest of their life. And that's really the choice. That is why, while I do work with colleges, corporates, even work with NGOs to empower, communities of all different kinds. And there is this notion that says mental health is a rich people problem. It's not really true. Okay. They may come out more just because they can afford the solution, but not otherwise. So I do work with a lot of communities, NGOs and everything as well. But the one that interests me the most is schools. Because I know whatever impact I will cause here will stay for a generation. So this is the answer that I used to give people when COVID was on. I hope there are no people that religiously believe in vaccines, but my thought was give medicine to everybody who is no longer going to procreate. At least the problem, whatever, DNA change, whatever else happens, because you have an untested system, stays with them. Don't give it to 5-year-old kids, 10-year-old kids. Anyway, but yeah, that's what I was talking about. Whatever you would do now will stay forever. So that's the choice that everyone needs to make. Are you going to create resilience? Are you going to empower them with the ability to handle themselves from their mental health perspective in a more meaningful manner? Or it's not as important, let's focus on academics, let's focus on extracurriculars, let's focus on making more machines. It's a choice. But that's, what excites me. That's what I'm looking at handling. And, that's why this platform. So I thought we'll come to here, we will talk to you about this. As I said, seek your inputs and then see if Gyaananda School wants to be one of those schools that would actually look at it as, it's important. It's, more important probably than anything else that would happen anywhere. It's more important than the robotics lab or the robotics curriculum that we would introduce. It's more important than the tennis lessons that we will give. It is more important than, many other things. Because if you do this, everything else starts to fall in place. Okay, so with that, what is the time? 3. Okay. As I promised, it's 3 o'clock. I am ending. If there are any questions, any queries right now, and I do understand I'm talking about a sensitive topic. So if anybody outside of this wants to have a discussion, has a problem with themselves, with the students, wherever, however, okay, please feel free to reach out to us. Okay. While our app, when we work with schools, when we give them the organizational dashboard and everything, has a pricing attached with it, but I started this mental health infrastructure with the basic belief that said mental health is a fundamental human right. So all this, what I was talking about, is actually available to every individual user free of charge. So you can actually go to my platform, go to the Talk Now feature and message there, and you can talk to a counselor. Free of charge, no questions asked, anytime, anywhere. However, as I said, when we work with schools, when we work with organizations, there is a lot more value that we provide, there is a lot more capability that we unlock for them, there is a lot more measurability that we do, and that's how we end up making up for the loss of providing it for free, or for the benefit of providing it for free, depending on how you look at it. So, if there are no questions, I will give you guys your Saturday back, claim some of my Saturday back as well, even though I have to go to another event after this for some lecture around mental health. Interestingly, today I will go and I will be talking to nearly 1,000 martial arts athletes. So there is a big event that is happening in the Alcatraz Stadium, And I have had this very strong belief, and I've been saying this since the days of downfall of Virat. Your skills and expertise gets you to the stadium. Your mental resilience wins you the country. As clear as that. Your skills and expertise will get you to the stadium. That's where it ends. Your mental resilience is what will help you win the medal. So I'm going to go there and talk to them about, inspire probably some of them to be able to seek mental health support for them. Yeah, well, this time I think still, even with that, this time I think it is lesser compared to last Olympics when we had Simone Biles not go to the athletics or go to the tournament at all, other people that quit because they were having depression. And this time I think there are other issues in Olympics versus purely that, driven mental health conversation. India, of course, has been taken over by the Vinesh Fogart issue.
Yeah.
Global has been taken over by this Khalif. What's her full name?
Rafi Khalif of Algeria.
Huh?
Rafi Khalif of Algeria.
Not Irafi.
Irfan Irafi कैसी है?
I forgot the name. Anyway.
That boxer, yes. Algerian boxer.
So one conversation that I was having with somebody is, it's interesting, right? There is so many people that are talking about mental health of this Italian boxer. Nobody is talking about mental health of this person that just won, and how she is being bashed by everybody around. Anyway, we wouldn't get into that debate. It's a tricky, sensitive issue. Everybody, as I said, will have their own perspectives on how it is. But this is what we are trying to do: empower each one of you and each one of your students with better mental health capability. Thank you so much. You've been a wonderful audience.